All of you know what's the national animal? Am I correct? Yes. Tell me what's the name? Yes, it is tiger. Today we are going to learn a new and interesting story about our national animal, tiger. The title of the story is A Tiger in the House. Before entering into the lesson, let's see the overview of the lesson. Are you ready, children?
Overview of a tiger in the house. In this lesson, we have three parts. First part is before you read. Second part is reading comprehension. And the final part is questions and answers. Now, see the learning objectives of the lesson A Tiger in the House. Learning objectives. By the end of this lesson, you will be able to describe the main characters in the story and their roles in Timothy's life. Explain how Timothy's behavior changed as he grew older and bigger. Recognize the setting of the story and how it influenced Timothy's behavior. Summarize the main events in the story and identify the turning point. Express your opinion on whether wild animals should be kept as pets and why. State the dangers of keeping wild animals as pets and the possible consequences. Describe the emotions and feelings of the characters in the story and how they changed over time. Let's see the comprehension 1 of the lesson. Comprehension 1 of A Tiger in the House. Grandfather finds a tiny tiger cub in the forest and brings him home. Timothy, the tiger cub, was discovered by grandfather in the Terai jungle near Dehra. One day, when grandfather was strolling down the forest path at some distance from the rest of the party, he discovered a little tiger about 18 inches long, hiding among the intricate roots of a banyan tree. Grandfather picked him up and brought him home. He had the distinction of being the only member of the party to have bagged any game, dead or alive. At first, the tiger cub, who was named Timothy by grandmother, was brought up entirely on milk given to him in a feeding bottle by our cook Muhammad. But the milk proved too rich for him, and he was put on a diet for raw mutton and cod liver oil, to be followed later by a more tempting diet of pigeons and rabbits. Timothy was provided with two companions, Toto, the monkey, who was bold enough to pull the young tiger by the tail and then climb up the curtains if Timothy lost his temper, and a small mongrel puppy found on the road by grandfather. At first, Timothy appeared to be quite afraid of the puppy and darted back with a spring if it came too near. He would make absurd dashes as it with his large forepaws and then retreat to a ridiculously safe distance. Finally, he allowed the puppy to crawl on his back and rest there. Children, do you know the meaning for darted? Okay, now I will tell. Darted means moved or rushed suddenly. Retreat means go back. One of Timothy's favorite amusements was to stalk anyone who would play with him. And so, when I came to live with grandfather, I became one of the tiger's favorite. Children, do you know what is meant by stalk? Stalk means move stealthily towards. With a crafty look in his glittering eyes and his body crouching, he would creep closer and closer to me, suddenly making a dash for my feet, rolling over on his back and kicking with delight, and pretending to bite my ankles. Children, do you know what is meant by crafty? Crafty means cunning. He was by this time the size of a full grown retriever, and when I took him out for walks, people on the road would give us a wide berth. When he pulled hard in his chain, I had difficulty in keeping up with him. Children, do you know what is the meaning of retriever? Retriever means a breed of dog, trying to retrieve game in hunting. Give us a wide berth means keep a safe distance from us. His favorite place in the house was the drawing room, and he would make himself comfortable on the long sofa, reclining there with great dignity, and snarling at anybody who tried to get him off. Timothy had clean habits and would scrub his face with his paws exactly like a cat. He slept at night in the cook's quarters and was always delighted at being let out by him in the morning. Now, children, we will check how much we understand the comprehension 1 of this lesson. Are you ready, children? Comprehension check. He had the distinction of being the only member of the party to have bagged any game. The phrase in italic means option A. Grandfather was the most distinguished member of the party. Option B. Grandfather was the only sports person in the party. Option C. Grandfather was the only successful member of the hunting party. Mark the right answer. What is the answer? Can you say? Yes, you are absolutely right. Answer is option A. Complete the following sentence. Question number 2. Tito climbed up the curtains when dash. Option A. Whenever he gets excited. Option B. When he wished to climb anything. Option C. Whenever he pulled the tiger's tail and not him lose his temper. Mark the right answer. Which one is the correct answer? Can you tell? Yes, you are absolutely right. The correct answer is option C. Complete the following sentence. Question number 3. Dash I became one of the tiger's favorite. Option A. Because I am a naughty boy. Option B. Because I came to lie with the grandfather. Option C. Because I like the tiger. Mark the right answer. Can you guess which one is the correct? Yes, you are absolutely right. The answer is option B. Complete the following sentence. Question number 4. Timothy had clean habits. Dash. Option A. He eats neatly. Option B. He scrubs his face with his paws exactly like a cat. Option C. He cleans his face. Mark the right answer. Can you guess which one is the correct answer? Yes, you are right. The answer is option B. Children, you understand comprehension 1 very well. Now, let's see the second part of the lesson, a tiger in the house. Comprehension 2 of a tiger in the house. As Timothy grows up, he becomes less friendly and rather dangerous. One of these days, declared grandmother in her prophetic manner, we are going to find Timothy sitting on Muhammad's bed and no sign of the cook except his clothes and shoes. Of course, it never came to that, but when Timothy was about 6 months old, a change came over him. He grew steadily less friendly. When out for a walk with me, he would try to steal away to stalk a cat or someone's pet dog. Sometimes at night we would hear friends cackling from the poultry house, and in the morning there would be feathers lying all over the veranda. Children, do you know what is meant by fringed and cackling? You don't know? Okay, now I will tell. Fringed means loud and frantic. Cackling means noise made by hens. Timothy had to be trained up more often, and finally, when he began to stalk Muhammad about the house with what looked like a villainous intent, grandfather decided it was time to transfer him to a zoo. Children, do you know what is meant by villainous intent? Don't know? Okay, now I will tell. Villainous intent means wicked, dangerous plan or idea. Reserving a first-class compartment for himself and Timothy, no one would share a compartment with them. Grandfather took him to Lucknow, where the zoo authorities were only too glad to receive as a gift a well-fed and fairly civilized tiger. About 6 months later, when my grandparents were visiting relatives in Lucknow, grandfather took the opportunity of calling at the zoo to see how Timothy was getting on. I was not there to accompany him, but I heard all about it when I returned to Dehra. Arriving at the zoo, grandfather made stride for the particular case in which Timothy had been interned. The tiger was there, crouched in a corner, full grown and with a magnificent strip coat. Hello, Timothy, said grandfather and put his arm through the bars of the case. The tiger approached the bars and allowed grandfather to put both hands around his head. Grandfather stroked the tiger's forehead and tickled his ears, and whenever he growled, smacked him across the mouth, which was his old way of keeping him quiet. Children, do you know what is the meaning of smack? No? Okay, now I will tell. Smacked means hit lightly. He licked grandfather's hands and only sprang away when a leopard in the next cage slammed at him. Grandfather shooed the leopard away, and the tiger returned to lick his hands. But every now and then the leopard would rush at the bars and he would slink back to his corner. Children, do you know the meaning of slink? Slink means move noiselessly. A number of people had gathered to watch the reunion when the keeper pushed his way through the crowd and asked grandfather what he was doing. I am talking to Timothy, said grandfather. Weren't you here when I gave him to the Jew 6 months ago? I have not been here very long, said the surprised keeper. Please continue your conversation. But I have never been able to touch him myself. He is always very bad tempered. Why don't you put him somewhere else? Suggested grandfather. That leopard keeps frightening him. I will go and see the superintendent about it. Grandfather went in search of the superintendent of the zoo, but found that he had gone home early. And so, after wandering about the zoo for a little while, he returned to Timothy's case to say goodbye. It was beginning to get dark. He had been stroking and slapping Timothy for about 5 minutes when he found another keeper observing him with some alarm. Grandfather recognized him as the keeper who had been there when Timothy had first come to the zoo. You remember me? Said grandfather. Now, why don't you transfer Timothy to another case away from this stupid leopard? But, sir, stammered the keeper, it is not your tiger. I know, said grandfather. I realize he is no longer mine. But you might at least take a suggestion or two from me. I remember your tiger very well, said the keeper. He died 2 months ago. Died? Exclaimed grandfather. Yes, sir, of pneumonia. This tiger was trapped in the hills only last month and he is very dangerous. Grandfather could think of nothing to say. The tiger was still licking his arm with increasing relish. Grandfather took what seemed to him an age to withdraw his hand from the case. With his face near the tiger's, he mumbled, Good night, Timothy, and giving the keeper a scornful look, walked briskly out of the zoo. Children, now let's check how much we understand the comprehension 2. Comprehension check. Question number 1. Grandmother's prophecy was that the tiger Option A would prefer Muhammad's bed to sleep in. Option B, and the cook would disappear together from the house. Option C, would one day make a meal of Muhammad. Mark the right answer. What is the answer? Can you tell? Yes, you are right. Answer is option C. Let's see the question number 2. Question number 2. When Timothy was about 6 months old, a change came over him. The phrase in italic means that. Option A. Timothy had grown to his full size. Option B. Timothy grew more friendly. Option C. Timothy grew less friendly, in fact more dangerous. Mark the right answer. Yeah, tell me what's the right answer? Yes, you are right. The answer is option C. Write true or false of the following statement. Question number 3. Timothy and grandmother went to Lucknow in special compartment. True or false? What is the answer? Tell me. Yes, you are right. Answer is true. Write true or false of the following statement. Question number 4. The compartment in which grandmother and Timothy traveled had no other passenger. It is true or false? What is the correct answer? Yes, you are right. Answer is true. Write true or false of the following statement. Question number 5. Timothy and grandfather traveled in a first class compartment. It is true or false? What is the correct answer? Yes, it is true. Write true or false of the following statement. Question number 6. All passengers in the compartment thought that Timothy was a well-fed and civilized tiger. Is it true or false? What is the answer? Yes, you are right. Answer is false. Question number 7. Grandfather suggested that Timothy should be put in another cage. What was the reason? Option A. The tiger had become very bad tempered. Option B. A leopard in the next cage would constantly rush at Timothy. Option C. The cage was too small for a full grown tiger. Tell me what's the correct answer? Yes, you are absolutely right. Your answer is option B. Question number 8. The tiger was still licking his arm with increasing relish. The phrase in italics suggests that Timothy. Option A was good natured. Option B recognized an old friend. Option C smelled fresh food. Can you guess what is the right answer? Yes, you are right. Answer is option B. Children, you understand well comprehension too. Now we will check our total understanding of lesson by doing following exercise. Are you ready, children? Exercise. Answer the following questions. Question number 1. Where was the tiger cub hiding when grandfather found him? Option A, on the road. Option B, in party hall. Option C, intricate roots of a banyan tree. Can you guess what is the right answer? Yes, you are right. The answer is option C. Question number 2. What did Toto do to entertain Timothy? Option A. Pull the young tiger's tail. Option B. Lick the young tiger's face. Option C. Put scratches on young tiger's body with his nails. Can you guess what is the answer? Yes, you are right. The answer is option A. Question number 3. What did Toto do when Timothy lost his temper? Option A. Climb up windows. Option B.
climb up curtains. Option C, climb up top of the house. What is the right answer? Can you say? Yes, you are absolutely right. The answer is option B. Question number 4. I became one of the tiger's favorites. Who is I in the statement? Option A, grandfather. Option B, cook. Option C, grandmother. Option D, poet. What is the correct answer? Yes, you are awesome. The answer is option D. Question number 5. Where was Timothy most comfortable during the day? Option A, on the long sofa in the drawing room. Option B, in the kitchen. Option C, in the garden. Guess the correct answer? Yes, you are right. The answer is option A. Question number 6. Where was Timothy during the night? Option A, in the kitchen. Option B, in the cook's quarters. Option C, in the grandfather's bedroom. Can you say the answer? Yes, you are absolutely right. The answer is option B. Question number 7. What was grandmother's prophecy about the cook? Option A, the cook was sleeping on his bed. Option B, Timothy was sleeping on cook's bed. Option C, Timothy was sitting on the cook's bed and there was no sign of the cook except his clothes and shoes. Guess the right answer? Yes, you are right. The answer is option C. Number 8. What made grandfather decide to transfer Timothy to the zoo? Option A. While walking, Timothy tried to steal away to stalk a cat or someone's pet dog. Option B. While sleeping, Timothy always quarreled the Toto. Option C. During the daytime, Timothy was not listening to grandfather's words. Can you guess what is the right answer? Yes, you are right. The answer is option A. Question number 9. Why did grandfather want Timothy to be put in another enclosure? Option A. Timothy was playing with leopard. Option B. The cage was not sufficient to Timothy to move inside the cage. Option C. The leopard kept on frightening Timothy. What is the correct answer? Can you guess? Yes, you are right. The answer is option C. Question number 10. What shocked the grandfather in the end? Option A. Timothy escaped from the Jew. Option B. Timothy died 2 months ago. Option C. Timothy grew to be a bad-tempered animal. Guess the correct answer? Yes, you are awesome. The answer is option B.
Discuss the following topics in groups. Topic 1. Shoot animals with a camera, not with a gun. Topic 2. Keeping pets help us become more loving and tolerant. It also helps us respect life in any form. Do you agree? Topic 3. Have you heard of the Society for Prevention of Cruelty to Animals? What do they do? Summary of the story. Timothy, a tiger cub, was discovered by grandfather in the Terai jungle near Dehra. He was the only member of the party to back any game, dead or alive. Timothy was raised on milk given to him by the cook, Muhammad, and later on a diet of pigeons and rabbits. He was provided with companions, Chotu, a monkey, and a small mongrel puppy. Timothy's favorite amusement was stalking anyone who would play with him. And when the other came to live with grandfather, he became one of Tiger's favorites. When Timothy was about 6 months old, he became less friendly and tried to steal away to stalk or cat or someone's pet dog. He was chained up more often when he began to stalk Muhammad about the house with what looked like villainous intent. Grandfather decided it was time to transfer Timothy to a zoo. He took him to Lucknow, where the Jew authorities were only too glad to receive a well-fed and fairly civilized tiger as a gift. At the zoo, grandfather made stride for the particular case in which Timothy had been interned. The tiger was full grown and with a magnificent striped coat. Grandfather stroked the tiger's forehead and tickled his ears, and whenever he growled, he smacked him across the mouth. He licked grandfather's hands and only sprang away when a leopard in the next case snarled at him. Grandfather shooed the leopard away, and the tiger returned to lick his hands. A few people gathered to watch the reunion when a keeper pushed his way through the crowd and asked grandfather what he was doing. Grandfather had never been able to touch Timothy himself, and he suggested transferring him to another case away from the leopard. The keeper recognized grandfather as the keeper who had been there when Timothy had first come to the zoo. Grandfather knew there was no longer his tiger, but he could not take a suggestion from him. The tiger was still licking his arm with increasing relish, and grandfather took what seemed to be an ace to withdraw his hand from the case. With his face near the tiger's, he mumbled, "Good night, Timothy," and walked briskly out of the zoo. Poet Ruskin Bond. Ruskin Bond is an eminent contemporary Indian writer of British descent. Born on 19 May 1934, his first novel, The Room on the Roof, was published in 1956. Awards: Sahitya Academy Award, Padma Shri, Padma Bhushan. Famous books by Ruskin Bond is The Blue Umbrella, The Room on the Roof, Time Spots at Shamli, and many more. Happiness is a mysterious thing to be found somewhere between too little and too much. Famous quote by Ruskin Bond, a book of simple living. I am grateful to the SCIT of Andhra Pradesh, E-Pathshala, and the Education Department of Andhra Pradesh. Thank you very much for giving this opportunity to teach the children of the state through this e-content production. Thank you one and all. Thank you for watching.